Ah, Saturday mornings, that bastion of childhood escapism. Be real, when you were a kid, the only reason you didn't sleep in on Saturdays was so you could catch up on all your favorite TV shows. This is back before big education had to come in and add informative things to them. Wrestling is no stranger to the old Saturday morning cartoon treatment. Over the decades, we've seen shows like Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, Ultimate Muscle, and Mucha Lucha. Since wrestling is one giant cartoon in the first place, having cartoons about wrestling makes perfect sense. But in the early 2000s, Canadian production company Shavik Entertainment threw their hat into the ring by answering the question nobody asked. What if you combine professional wrestling with 1960s Batman? Enter Los Luchadores, the short-lived live-action series that aired on Fox Kids in 2001. In the same spirit as shows like VR Troopers, Big Bad Beetleborgs, Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, and many others, Los Luchadores carried on the grand tradition of shamelessly piggybacking on the wild success of the Power Rangers franchise and failing miserably.
Go, go, Power, Bone Warrior.
The show looks at the lives of 3 full-time luchadors, who apparently are so well off they can use their spare time to fight crime out of the world's most conspicuous and illogical secret hideout. The leader of the bunch is Lobo Fuerte, played by Argentinian model Maximo Morone. You know, that actor's name is actually a better wrestler name than Lobo Fuerte.
Oui, but is he très eccentric like moi?
You know, I kinda wish he were. Joining Lobo in his fight for justice is his tag team partner and extremely annoying sidekick, Turbine, played by Levi James. Turbine seems to suffer from an affliction in which he can only speak in terrible, cheesy zingers.
Looks like these losers are snoozers. Whoa, that's the bomb! In a bad way! You must have missed the sign. It says no trespassing.
And that must have caused a mutation.
That's mud-titian, champ.
¿Qué es esto?
I don't know, but I got one more for you, dude. So, look into it.
Rounding out the group is Maria Valentine, played by Sarah Carter, the only actress who managed to salvage a career for herself after this show. Together, the trio protect their beloved and extremely generic-looking Union City from a cavalcade of ne'er-do-wells, including space werewolves, mud monsters, and their main rival, an evil chihuahua named the Whelp. Which actually makes a lot of sense. If I were a writer for this show, looking down the barrel of a deadline trying to figure out a name for this cybernetic Taco Bell mascot, I too would throw my hands up and say, Welp!
Oh, you're going to love this one, girls. This will be the greatest success I've ever had.
You know, when I think of what an evil talking chihuahua would sound like, an exaggerated Peter Lorre is the first thing that comes to mind. Like I mentioned earlier, this show closely followed the style of the classic Batman series, from the custom car to the foreign manservant, right on down to the high-tech HQ. Their assistant Laurent, played by the voice of Destro, Arthur Burkhart, is their go-to computer man, who's also good at giving very specific timetables for how soon the heroes need to complete their mission.
The chip will overheat in approximately 2 hours. You've got to stop this, Mudman, within a couple of hours, or else it will wear off.
Oh, did that guy just stick 2 people with the same needle? 2 wrestlers with the same needle, no less? That's messed up even for Destro. I feel like Maria is more or less useless on this show, the token female. She almost never joins the other 2 guys to fight the baddies. She usually just hangs behind to chat with a tertiary character, or is just the damsel who needs saving. This show runs the gamut of your standard crime-fighting superhero kids show storylines. The one where the villain creates a robotic clone of one of the members to infiltrate the base. The one where a giant mudman threatens the town's water supply. Fan of Kevin Smith movies much? And the one where the leader of the group falls into an alternate dimension where he's unrecognized by the alternate versions of his friends.
Look, I know everyone in the Lucha Underground, and I have never seen you.
Really? You mean you didn't see him win the Gift of the Gods championship in season 1? The show used computer graphics sparingly and mostly relied on props, costumes, and a healthy suspension of disbelief. When CG was used, oh, you knew it.
Luego hay missile. Ándale!
Seems like a lot of wasted motion in the mechanics of that rocket launcher. Was the guy in charge of graphics just showing off? There are some nice things to say about this show. None of the actors on the show are wrestlers, but the wrestling matches you saw were competent enough for TV. Even though the writing was cheesy and not very deep, it fit right in line with their target demographic. And I have to admit, the show takes the cultural aspects of Lucha Libre and its competitors pretty seriously for a kids show. They really do a good job enforcing the idea that luchadors are people of high honor, the sacred keepers of tradition, and dutiful to their people. So there's that. If they ever made a toy line or Fox spent more time promoting it, the show might have lasted for longer than one season. By 2001, I was outside of the show's target audience, but at that age, I was so hungry to see anything wrestling related, I would have at least given it a shot had I known it existed. Aside from the rare full episodes you can find online, Los Luchadores is kind of difficult to get your hands on here in the States, as they never made a DVD release of it in this country. It is, however, available to import from Italy, of all places. Italy? I wonder why.
Mamma mia! This simple Italian life bores me. If only there was a way I could see a window into the lives of Mexican wrestlers, as portrayed by the whitest people on the planet. Bellissima! Finally, a show that speaks to me! Nothing could make this crude stereotype happier! Wahoo!
Los Luchadores was cheesy and had an outlandish premise, but it's a kids show, so I guess I shouldn't be too hard on it. And at the end of the day, any show that actually glorifies wrestling to children is alright with me. Maybe it would help open people's eyes to actual Lucha Libre, and they can see what it's really all about. Haha, never gets old. Be sure to thumbs up this video if you like it, comment below, subscribe to Wrestling with Regret, and buy the t-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com. I'm Brian Zane, and I'll see you next time.